Hey guys, and welcome to a brand new video here on FPL Now. Today we're once again going over my updated team selection for game week 1. So if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, what is your current squad looking like, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things up, I've actually changed quite a bit this week. My goalkeepers are the first things that have been changed. Ward is still there, just your normal 4 mil goalkeeper that's not going to be playing, but obviously you have to have 2 goalkeepers in FPL. But I've actually changed to Raya, and that is just simply because he's just my set and forget kind of goalkeeper. It's a little bit of a cheaper option to get into that Arsenal defence. I think the Wolves and Brighton games would be really, really good for Arsenal defence because I feel like they will potentially keep a clean sheet in those fixtures. I mean, Villa and Spurs and City, obviously not ideal, but at the same time, I feel like the 4.5 mil goalkeepers, apart from like, I think the Forest keepers, I don't think many of them are going to be keeping that many clean sheets kind of going into the start of the season. And as well as that, Arsenal are the best defensive team in the league. So if you do want to get into an Arsenal defender or something to do with an Arsenal kind of, I guess a defender or something to do with a player that can keep a clean sheet, I feel like 5.5 mil, even though it is quite expensive, it's the easiest way into that kind of back line. I'm not 100% set on it. It's just kind of something that I've been thinking about really, because then obviously game week 6, 7 and 8, you've got some really nice fixtures for them. It gets a little bit worse for Liverpool, Newcastle and Chelsea. I know a lot of people will be wildcarding around that time anyway, so they could easily kind of just get rid of him. But I don't know. I feel like Raya at the start of the season isn't the most terrible option really. I've still got 0.5 budget in this team as well, so it's a little bit all over the place right now, but it doesn't actually look that bad on paper. But either way, those are the goalkeepers. I'm not completely convinced yet. I could easily go back to a Forest keeper and that would give me an extra 1.5 mil to kind of work with, but either way, those are the goalkeepers. At the back, also changed quite a bit. I have gotten rid of Castagna, and I've also gotten rid of Barco, however you pronounce his name. There's been some comments from the Brighton manager that there was another player that could play in that position very, very well. And, I mean, Barco is already a player that isn't going to be guaranteed starts as soon as Estepinian is back. So the fact that they've also now got another player that could be kind of cutting into his minutes, I just think is a little bit... I think it's a little bit worrying. So I've gone with Johnson, who's played a lot of minutes pre-season. Obviously, we went over the pre-season video a couple of days ago. And yeah, he's played the majority of the friendlies, and he wasn't too bad for West Ham. And like I say, he's not going to be a player that I'm playing all the time. You know, I might play him against Southampton, might play him against Leicester. He's not going to be a player that's starting every week, but he's 4 mil. He's going to be a 90-minute player, and he's a fullback as well. He's not a centre-back, so I don't mind having him at all. Livramento's in the squad as well. I have been umming and ahhing about maybe getting rid of him though for like Castagna or something like that, because even though there's like green and stuff in the 5 fixtures at the start, I feel like they're only really going to keep a clean sheet potentially in one of the games, which is Southampton, which is game week 1. After that, Bournemouth, I mean, it depends if Solanke goes, really. That's obviously going to play a massive part into it, which, again, apparently is very, very likely to be going down. We're going to talk about that in a second. But yeah, I don't think they're going to keep a clean sheet against Bournemouth. Spurs, I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet against. Wolves, unlikely. And then Fulham away as well. I think these are pretty tough fixtures. And then obviously after that, they've got City at home. So I am umming and ahhing about having Livramento. He is only 4.5 mil though, so I don't think it's going to be that bad. You know, I'll just play him game week 1, and then I can just bench him for other players if need be. But yeah, Livramento is still somebody that I'm also up in the air about. Mykolenko, I think, is just probably going to be a staple in my team now. Everton were very, very good at the back last year. And, you know, you can see from the fixtures that they have, it's only really Spurs and Villa that they're going to really trouble with. Maybe Newcastle as well. But apart from that, Brighton, Bournemouth, Leicester, Palace, Ipswich, Fulham, Southampton, West Ham, Brentford, Man United, Wolves, like they've got some really, really nice fixtures. And from a defensive standpoint, Mykolenko's got good numbers anyway, so I think he's probably just going to be like a set and forget, and I'll play him most weeks. Probably won't play him against like Spurs away, but I can play other players that week. I've also gone Anderson as well. He does rotate really nicely with Villa defense, which is why I brought Konza in as well. You know, when obviously Konza's got Arsenal at home, I can just play Anderson, who's got West Ham at home, and then when Anderson's got Chelsea away, I can play Konza, who's got Leicester away. So the only worry about Villa players is obviously the Champions League and how that's going to affect players' minutes and who's starting and stuff like that. Which again, it is something we can't really, I guess. We can't really get an idea about that until obviously the Champions League starts. But yeah, as of right now, these pair really, really well. They pair quite well with Mykolenko as well, to be fair. and then, like I say, Johnson will just be bench fodder, and then, yeah, Livramento. I'll be playing 3 defenders every week anyway, so if I've got 4 playing 4.5 mil players, or 5 playing defenders really, picking 3 of them every week, you'd like to think 3 of them will have relatively okay fixtures. So that's the back line there. In midfield, we've got Saka, Nkunku, Eze, Gibbs-White, and Son. So there's no Salah in this team. There's also no Cole Palmer in this team as well. I could go to Cole Palmer if I really wanted to. I do have an extra 0.5 in the bank, so I could easily get rid of Saka or Son for Cole Palmer. But I don't really like Nkunku and Palmer both playing City game week 1. I do really want Palmer in my team, and like I say, if I need him, I can always upgrade Saka to him after game week 1. But I just think that Saka with Wolves at home and Son with Leicester away are 2 really, really nice fixtures. And I know that Salah has Ipswich away, which is obviously a really nice fixture as well. But at the same time, I think that together Saka and Son probably outscore Salah, because I was looking at this team and it's like Salah and like a 5.5 mil player or something like that, or Salah and like a 6.5 mil player, or like Son and Saka, and I just think Son and Saka are together are just much better options. I've also got 4 penalty takers in this midfield as well, being Saka, Eze, Gibbs-White, and Son. Saka obviously has had minutes now, so I'm not too worried about him not starting game week 1, whereas other players like Foden and stuff, I'm a little bit worried about them playing. Obviously, Nkunku's played pretty much every minute pre-season. As long as he stays fit, he's going to be a really good option. Son's had a decent pre-season. Gibbs-White hasn't had the greatest pre-season in terms of, like, attacking returns. It's been much more coming through, like, Alanga and Hudson-Odoi and stuff like that. Chris Wood's got a couple. But Gibbs-White, you know, he's the captain. He's on penalties, and I think that as soon as the fixtures start, I think he'll come good. And then Eze, like I say, has always been a definite in this team. I don't think I'm going to be getting rid of him anytime soon unless he gets injured. To quickly go over the Solanke thing, though, with Son. You know, it looks like they are going to be signing Solanke. Solanke is pushing for it. Spurs are pushing for it. It looks like, I've literally just seen a tweet from Fabrizio Romano before I started recording this, and it does look like it is going to be happening. He is obviously on penalties for Bournemouth. I don't think he'll take Son off penalties. If he does, Son becomes a little bit less of an option, but I still think a really good option. You know, he's better on the wing as well, and you know, it's not going to be affecting Son's minutes either. It's going to be affecting Richarlison and Solanke, who's going to be playing down the middle, whereas Son's always going to play. Obviously on the right it can be Johnson, Kulusevski, but as of right now, yeah, I think Son, I mean, I'd only really have Son for the first couple of fixtures anyway and then get rid of him, so it might even be the situation where I have Son for Leicester and Everton and then upgrade him to Palmer in game week 3 when he's got Crystal Palace, because obviously Saka will have Wolves, will have Brighton at home that week, so I probably won't really want to get rid of him. So that's kind of something else to think about. But yeah, I mean, the midfield doesn't look terrible on paper. I think it's okay. Like I say, lots of penalty takers, lots of really nice fixtures coming up. The only players that I'd obviously really want in this midfield are Salah and Palmer. But like I say, I think they will. I mean, Nkunku doesn't really cover Palmer in my opinion. But again, Nkunku was out for the majority of the season last year, so you know, when he's fit now and he's playing, maybe he will cover him. You don't really know. He could be one of the best assets to own. Like Palmer last year was a ridiculous asset to own, like just absolute cheat code. And Nkunku could be that this year as well. So that's the midfield. And then obviously up top, we've got Haaland, Isak, and Stewart. So we're playing a 3-5-2 formation once again. And like I say, if I do want to get rid of Isak, I have that 0.5 to go to Watkins or someone like that if need be. But I don't think I'll be needing to do that really. I'll probably be, if anything, I might even be downgrading Isak to, not Isak, but I might be upgrading Stewart to a Solanke. Like I say, it all depends what happens there and what other players. Obviously, I've got no Liverpool players in this. You know, if Darwin Núñez looks like he's going to be starting, you know, game week 1 and stuff like that, then he's obviously somebody that comes into the equation, and maybe I go for a 3-4-3. There's a lot that we kind of still need to know about, because I would really, really like a Liverpool attacker. And they haven't signed anyone yet either. So, like, who is going to play in that forward spot? Is it going to be Núñez under the new manager? Is it going to be Jota? Or is it going to be somebody else? Who knows? But as of right now, this is the current draft. And like I say, I like having 0.5 mil in the bank. I've got a decent goalkeeper, but again, I could easily get rid of him for a Forest keeper, have 1.5 mil in the bank, and then always use that to upgrade to somebody else. But like, I'd have Gordon in this draft, but I don't really know what's happening with Gordon. Is he moving to Liverpool? Because if he's moving to Liverpool, he becomes less of an option. Obviously, the 1.5 can't upgrade Saka or Son to Salah because he's 12.5, so I need to find an extra mil. Could always downgrade Gibbs-White to Hudson-Odoi and do that. But like I say, you're just kind of tearing all your team apart just to bring in Salah. And even though Salah is, you know, he's the GOAT of FPL, I think I'd rather have Haaland. I don't know. It's a weird one, but that's what the current team looks like. Again, we've got Community Shield this weekend, so that might open up a couple more eyes and avenues and see what happens. Again, there might be injuries. You never know. You know, Haaland might get injured, and if that's the case, then I think everybody's team is probably going to look relatively the same. But either way, that's my current Game Week 1 draft. Obviously, it's starting next weekend, so there'll be a lot more content coming up in this week, and yeah, hopefully we'll finally figure out what this Game Week 1 team is going to look like. But that's how we're currently looking. If you enjoy, drop a like, leave a comment, let me know what your Game Week 1 teams are looking like. Subscribe if you're brand new, and until next time, peace.